So that should be done soon. Perfect. So this was apparently the last thing I was doing. I'm at 96% usage right now. God damn. Hey guys, welcome to my stream. Today we are mainly going to be working on iHog and getting that all done. Last time I was working on trying to implement the punt page feature, which is something new that I'm kind of working on that's hopefully going to allow like a DIY type page so that things can be so that you can customize the page for however you want. So what we were working on doing was implementing the in-app purchase so that when you purchased it, it would cause so when you purchased it, that feature would be unlocked. Real quick, I'm going to go to open this up. Let's do Safari. I gotta make sure extra apps are not on. Again, welcome. Tonight we're going to work on iHog. We're still trying to get things a little bit up and going, but I wanted the stream to start besides saying stream will start soon. Let me get to GitHub real quick. Hey, can you not, Thorgy? That'd be great. Issues. Milestones. All right, so I'm going to make y'all where you can see the screen. Cool. So what I'm doing is I'm hiding OBS because y'all don't need to see OBS. All right, so what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to go a quick overview of things that I want to do. Let's see how that went. And then app crashes on adding new show because of punt page. That was the last thing I was working on. There is a bug that when I make a new show, it crashes. So let's try that real quick. So in Xcode, we're going to go ahead and build. So that's the first thing we're going to tackle is that the crash doesn't happen. Closing apps here on my iPad. That way we can just switch between the things that I need to. Cool. And it should be running. H4. There we go. Okay, so it's running. If I make a new show and it crashes. Terminating app due to an exception. Reason punt entity set config unrecognized selector sent to an instance. So something's calling the punt page maker that shouldn't be. So let's also make this a bit bigger so you can actually see what's going on the screen. All right. Let's see here. All right, so let's go find out what is calling punt page, punt entity. So let's just do punt entity. There should be over here in the left-hand pane, which is super small. We can say find in workspace. Okay, and then it's also declared in here. Okay, so that's the only place that it's called. But what about add punt page? These are added a couple more in here. So in add show, this is causing an issue. So let's go ahead and just comment it out real quick. And let's see if that will fix the error of my ways. Hi, I see I have a follower. So hey, how's it going? Let's switch real quick here and get this running again. Cool. So we're waiting for it to build here. Just totally fine. It just takes some time.
Abandule.
All right, it's finally built. And where'd it go? Sorry, I'm trying to get the Twitch page open at the same time here. I should have had this beforehand. Stream manager, there we go. Okay, so on the device here, I can hit new show, add new show, and it actually adds the new show. So if we go to change show, we can see it got added up here, which is great and all. So let's see what happens here. Cool. Okay, so adding a punt page into the show file is causing issues. I don't need to. Let's see. Let me see what I'm doing wrong here. Because add show, so add punt page. Oh, because it's getting called before it even knows what add show is, I believe is the issue. So what I'm going to try to do now is change this from add punt page to, well, we're still going to keep it as add punt page. We're going to uncomment this. We'll keep that one commented. We'll uncomment this one because we won't add notes. Punt entity. No, punt. What's that called? Punt page manager. What class did I call it? I called it. We're gonna open it up side by side. Oh, it's instant extension. So the extension shouldn't need anything here. So let's see if I just do, let's just not say we need anything. Okay, so let's see here. Let's build this again. I just want to see if, oh, well, that should be an error anyway. Building shouldn't happen because I had commented out that last function. Great. And let's do a comment at that guy. That way something happens. Cool. It's currently working on being built. Yay, build was successful. Build was successful. And just to reiterate, we are working on issue number 56 in iHog. Yay. I put a link in the chat if anyone wanted to see what else in there. But with that being said, let's go into just looking at the code and device is perfect. All right, so when I add a new show this time, it really should just let me add a new show. Well, that's cool. That's really slow. So new show 1, punt page was made. So this function works, it was called. And if I go in here, it was made. Great. Let me... Cool, great. Okay, so this was made, but why is it not happy? But why? Oh, because it made a show entity also. So I wonder if I made a punt page entity here. Let's just try it. Because whenever I make a show, let's just add a punt page to it. Let punt page. Actually, we can just say here. But yep. Thanks, text expander. Great, it's going to return. So we're going to say this function punt page here is going to return a punt entity. Return new punt. So we're gonna uncomment these guys here and delete these lines. All right, so let's just say great, and then it's not being called anywhere, so now we have to add it back into this add show option here and say let's see, let's do this to punt page. Punt entity. And then we're going to say down here, where is add show punt entity. No, punt equals add punt page. Let's see. That's still not really gonna do it. Perhaps not. I don't think that actually adds it into the... It does not, because I'm not... Well... Let's just see what happens. I don't think that's actually doing anything inside the context. Sorry, it's building right now. which takes a while. So I'm really quiet because I'm just waiting for it to build and thinking about why it might not be building. All right, so the build was successful. Yay. Let's see. All right, and it's building now, so it should come up soon. Cool, and it's been purchased. Let's add a new show. Ugh, that worked much better this time. And I have an issue. Let's see what I have an issue with now. Let's read through this. So punt page was made. Great. Unrecognized selector sent to instance. Set config. Terminating app due to uncaught exception. NS invalid argument exception. Punt entity. Okay, so once I hit an error, I don't know. I really like to Google, and in my mind, there is nothing really wrong with Googling, especially when you don't know why this is happening. So let's take that first error. Well, error failed to call designated initializer on NS managed object show entity. Oh, am I not doing? I wonder if show dot punt page equals punt. I wonder if that's the actual issue. I mean, or was that just the first issue at the top? Yeah, that was just the first issue at the top. But it might also be an issue here. So let's see what happens. I have a huge delay according to my view here. But that's okay. So that's still loading here on the device. Where did my mouse go? Awesome. There it is. Okay. Nope, I don't actually need to add anything. So let's hit add new show, new show. Nope, and it still has an error. So let's see what else is happening here. Go into Stream Deck. We're gonna change the view. So again, I use this as a Stream Deck. I'm gonna open up the chat here on the screen. Cool. All right, and let's take some time to look at this and check this out first. Okay, so let me go through my thread real quick and see if this actually brings anything to light. I know you guys can't read this, but closure number 1, enclosure number 2, enclosure number 1. Well, that's probably an issue. All right, so this is when it killed the thread, and then we'll just work our way back through here. And again, this is basically, since I'm self-taught, this is basically what I'm assuming happened. Okay, so in here, I wonder if all of these are needed. And if we also need a thingamabob here. What am I looking for? I am looking for a word. I need to open that model. there we go. So hog OSC punt entity. Let's see. Config 64. It has a so let me build that now. So I changed the int from a zero I changed it from just a 0 to an actual int. I gave it a type since that's what I need in the model as a type. So maybe this will help since this is one of the places where it said it had an issue. So it's building and it's supposedly running right now. So let's switch real quick to that. What's my warning? Okay, I always have that warning. No big deal. All right, so we're gonna add new show. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Let's just hit stop and let's try it again. And we're gonna hit go again and run it. While it's running, no big deal. We'll just wait for it to finish. All right, so we're gonna hit new show. I'm gonna put 2. Done. And we still have an error. Okay. Boom, maybe? Nope. That would be tests. Okay. So the tab that I go in is the Debug Navigator. So if there is an issue, it should appear in here. So let's see. Which is great. So thread. All right, so it still says this is where the thread starts. So there's an issue. And then there's an issue here. And then we get an issue even further down here. Because I need to add the punt page in here, maybe? Yeah, I think that's what the deal is. Because, but there's no. Okay, and then. Okay, so why don't we try. In here where I call new show, why don't we do a so this is where I'm doing it. Okay, so let's do a let's adjust this first. Yep. All right, so one sec, let me get this committed first. Thanks for sitting tight with me while I work on debugging this. I know it's very exciting watching someone go through and debug an app, that especially when they're still relatively new and trying to figure out exactly why it's happening. Fork is coming along. It's just taking its sweet little time opening. Let's go ahead and just... Okay, so the reason why I'm trying to open Fork is so that I can actually get this all committed. I think I say this like once every time. I changed the button spacings to be from 4 to 2, so I need to go back and I need to actually commit that so that we can track what I exactly changed here. Because if I don't like what I'm doing here, then with it being in Git, I can actually revert back to what I want, to how it was before. And I will talk a little bit about how I have Git set up here. So how this works is that I am going, so I have my Hog OSC here. I'm using this program called Fork. It's really nice, free Git manager. So then I can go to my changes. I can specify exactly what I'm changing. So we're changing a new show. We're going to stage that. So basically you're saying, hey, I want to commit, this staging is like the adding. So git add. And then you have to give it a commit message, which is git commit -m. And then you put your message in quotes, just like if you were working on the command line. The only difference is that this is a GUI and it shows me exactly what I'm adding, which is really nice. So adjusted spacing. And then command enter is the same thing as hitting the commit button down here once it goes blue. And then I can push it up if I want to. I don't really care about pushing right now. A little bit of how I have my project branched is that the, so I have we'll go here real quick and we can see it. So I work from a master and then I basically fork off the master as I need to. So the master, sorry, that's wrong. I work off, yeah, no, that's right. I work off a master and then I branch off of the master. So you can see here, 22-4. So that was where I actually worked on. So that was the last thing I released. That was the last version I released was 2020-4. That's what's in the App Store right now. And then I branched for the bulk add items, and then that's what this so these options, these pills here are tags. So in GitHub, you can go and find my release tags. Of course, HogOSC is a closed repository, so you won't actually be able to see it. But so this branch here was the branch for issue number 54. And I also had an issue for number 53. So like what's really cool, because I did it this way, if I click here, it should open. It's going to open a thing that I don't really want it to open, but that's fine. It's just going to load. No big deal. It just takes most of my processing speed. Let's see how that's going. We're going to go ahead and kill that. Force quit. I usually don't like running Brave while I'm streaming because it's built on Chromium and it's a huge data sucker, which is no big deal, like I said, which is fine, except for it's a huge resource sucker since it's built on Chromium, which is great if I had a beefier computer, but because I have like the step up, I believe, from the base model of the 13-inch 2016, it takes a lot to run all of this, which is no big deal. Like I said, it's just something that I have to work around. But so there was this issue that I fixed and I branched off. And then I merged that into master. And then I also branched it off to work on the next feature, which is bulk add items, which I also have branched for a soft keys feature, which at some point, which I've been slowly working on and chugging away on. And right now we're working on punt page, which is what this orange bar is here. And it's not merged into master yet. It will be at some point, but not yet because everything is wrong right now and not working. Cool. And we know that everything inside Xcode was committed because that blue bar is gone, meaning there's no more changes in this one specific code base, in this one specific file. So what we're going to do here is say sm dot. We're going to make a new punt page. Actually, we probably do sm dot add punt page. Let's put that context back here. Cool. And smanaged object. Context. Context, great. And then we're going to say here. What's wrong? Why do we not like that in as managed object? Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I had the wrong type there. So that should fix that. We'll build it real quick. Sorry, didn't mean to trigger. Be right back. I'm still here, I promise. Code. Sorry about that. Still here. Just triggered the wrong thing. Cool. So Punt, great. It just hasn't been used. No big deal. So that's gonna get that here. New Punt entity context. All right, so I hid that so it was a little bit easier to see. A little bit less wrapping. So what is, oh, missing parameter context in call. No, it's right there. Let's see, I'm gonna build it real quick. See if I can get rid of that error. Oh, that's nifty. And I'm still having an error. Missing argument for parameter context. Oh, because it's being in, and yeah, that's where the error was. Okay. I don't need that there. Great. And I'm probably not gonna need that there. Okay. So now let's go back. All right. So Punt equals that, which is just returning that new Punt, which is fine. That in theory should work. Wait, no. It's gonna be new show dot. Let's see what pops up for dot. I don't need to add objects. I just need to change what the Punt page is. Dot Punt page. Haha. Equals Punt. And that's also gonna need to be added here. Oh. That needs to be added at the top. Okay, so we're gonna add in a mark here to do new show objects. And again, just to show what that does is in here. Now we can actually see, oh, hey, jump to new show objects. Great. Basically I can cut that out of here and then paste it here. And I think that will do it. So let's find out. I'm going to build it. And it's building. So we can see up here kind of that it's going to build. Build was succeeded, which you can't see that little badge because my face is here. So we're going to go ahead and go to code and device. Okay, and new show, and new show, and haha, it did not crash, which is always great. I love when things don't crash. So now that that's selected, I can go to Punt page, and all right, so great. So it does not crash. The only downside is that it does not check if it's enabled or not. But that's okay. For right now, I just want to make sure that it's not crashing. Things get added. There's always a way to add in conditionals later. So what I need to do next is work on actually. So that's great. So this is working as I need it to. So what I need to do next is work on implementing configurations. So I am going to open up GitHub. I'm not going to call this complete yet, though. This no longer occurs, but is not done, is not closed due to no, it just happens. Not locked by purchase. Okay, comment, and let's get this added into, let's get this committed before I keep going. New show is added with Punt page. Yeah, I knew. That's fine. Sorry, I just got a notification on my watch about exactly what I just said. So new show is added with Punt page because works towards iOS. 56 commit, and we'll go ahead and push that up now. This time, push. So right now it's getting pushed up to GitHub, which is fine. We're just gonna let it do its thing for a little bit. I want to talk to y'all specifically about the next thing we're gonna do. Cool. So a little bit of what we're gonna do here is, since this is getting pushed, did OBS close? No. Okay, cool. So while this is pushing, no big deal. We'll just let it be. Next step, like I said, is going to be actually checking in on what's happening here. So what I mean by that is, because checking in what's happening here does not actually make any kind of sense to anyone. So the next thing we're going to do is actually set configurations for the Punt page and have that right to core data. The different configurations that we'll have are, sorry for the banging, guys. No big deal. The different configs we're going to have are going to be, we'll have lists and scenes, on one side. And then faders on the other. So it'll look kind of like the sticky note here. Faders and a half, listen scenes. Okay, so that's me config number 1. Config number 2, it's going to be split. We're still going to have faders on the left. And then it's going to have encoders and then buttons. So these buttons will be used for con keys, keypad, etc. So that's what that's going to be used for. So it'll look something very similar to this. Probably not as with lines, but those are good, and that's where we're going to start. And as more configurations become a thing, we can start doing them more. It is still going for some reason. Cool. Sorry, it's frozen for a bit. Hold on. I'm gonna try to figure out. I see I have 2 viewers now. So hey to the other guy who came in, or other person that came in. Sorry, shouldn't be a little bit stereotypical. Going to go ahead and just close Safari, this window. That might help. Okay, and then I'm gonna toss that there. All right, so now that is there, now I can't see who's watching, but I saw that there were 2 at one point. So thanks again. And if you need to say anything, just let me know. We're gonna open it up down here. This is why I don't do it all on my computer. Cool. All right. Back to 1 viewer, which I'm pretty sure is whatever's on my iPad. It's no big deal. Okay, so that no longer occurs, but why has it not finished doing the thing? They're not made that last commit correctly. Megan J. Wilson, iHog number 56. No, I know. There's no issue number 56 here. It also should have been... Okay, I don't know why that didn't work. Which is a little bit frustrating, but that's okay. No big deal. Alright, so like I said, the next thing we're going to do is work on configuration. So let's close this guy. And we need this configuration to actually update in the Punt page. I closed it. Awesome. So y'all get to watch me open Xcode again and see everything die again. Cool. All right, so we're back here. Yay. So we're gonna go ahead and close that guy. Let's go back to settings. That's a view. That's not what I want. Well, in my views, I want to go to settings, and then we're gonna go to Punt pages. Punt page settings. All right, so what we need to do is basically, instead of running all of this that happens here, we're going to actually just have it say punt page. Oh, I have my phone. My phone can be used for Twitch. That makes a lot more sense. That works so much better. Cool. Great. Okay, so now that I have that going, sorry about that. I'm still trying to figure out the best setup for everything here. Great. So let's go ahead and run this real quick. I don't need to run it. I can just open it. Go ahead and find a switch. All right. Choosing a punt page. Okay, so instead of having all of this, we're basically just going to have different configurations to choose from. Reopen it. I don't know. What? It's still open right here. And it didn't stop streaming. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Okay, so from here, we're going to... I don't need any of this now. We're going to go ahead and... No, on up here does have to happen. Let's close this. So inside here, inside form, we're going to get rid of all of these for right now. So I'm just trying to figure out where they all are. Again, this is why you use Git, right? So we can very quickly come back. Okay, so I liked the selection options, but is that really what I want to do is the selection options? Okay, okay, so now it's just a design decision that I have to make here. Do I want it to, so it's a bit of a design decision right now. Do I want these do I want it to just be toggles? So you choose config 1, config 2, config 3. I mean, at that point, it could just be buttons then, though. But then I'd be deactivating buttons. I mean, either way, I'm going to be deactivating something. So let's see. Oh, I have 2 viewers again, so just the one. So hey, welcome to my stream. I am currently working on my iHog app or my Hog OSC code in the Hog OSC code base here. There should be a link in the chat room about what it is to get you to a issue that I was working on earlier. That issue is still not completely closed, but it is way better than it was. So now, last stream, I completely decided to change how I was actually going to configure this punt page. So now I'm actually working on that configuration of the punt page. So let's just say if we can do this section. Okay, so then we're going to do a button. Let's just try a button first. Action. Option 1 selected. Text. Configuration 1. And again, I probably will want these to be all different, have little different images or icons that I'm going to have to design next to them. I guess it doesn't have to be released right away. I'd rather the feature just be out there for people to use rather than it be, I mean, it does need to look polished though, especially since I'm charging extra for this feature. And I lost viewer, which no big deal. So let's see here. So it's building. I just want to see what it looks like before I keep going. Okay, so it's configuration 1. So if I make it happen again, 2, 3, 2, 3. All right, so it's building again. While that's happening, let's open up Safari real quick. I'm going to show you guys just a little bit of something that I've been working on here and there. So I mentioned last week that I was working on switching my blog over, and I have successfully finished the website here. My build failed. Why did it fail? Let's see what the error is. Command code 5. 3. Okay, let's try it again. That's probably from whenever I was typing before that the spotlight came up. So like I said, I had finished building. I was switching over my blog. I got it done. It works really well. It's hosted with Netlify and is written with Ruby and Markdown basically. So all my posts are slowly making its way over here, and I have a list of projects going now that looks a little bit better than it did before. So yeah, now you can find me on my own website, appsbymw.com, and you can go and of course read posts as they once were, as they are. They're sectioned into different categories: videos, announcements, tutorials, all that good stuff. You can even go and see all the tags I have written for different articles and go view by that. All that kind of stuff. There's a projects list that's actually working how I want it to. I'm not hard coding every single project. I just added another markdown file for the project and it comes. Click on it and you see a nice, page that just quickly says about the project itself. Get to the GitHub repo or to the website, depending on what you need, that kind of thing. Cool. All right, now that this has been built, we can see it's built down there. Let's go to the Punt page. Config 1, config 2, config 3. You can see that's being printed down here in the bottom. All right, so now what we need to do is actually set the options here. Dobby, can you stop, please? Sorry, my dog is licking, so I felt like I needed to address him and tell him to stop licking. Cool. So now that this is done, what we're going to do here is actually change our config options. We're not even configuring if it's enabled or not anymore. You know what? Why am I doing this per show and making this way harder than it has to be for me? Which just completely rules out everything I just did. But it makes a lot more sense to just keep this as a global feature in this Punt page. Instead of being a show setting, should be a device setting. And it just happens globally on the device, because I guarantee you, if the same person is using this iPad, that Punt page should look the exact same no matter what show you're on. So let's go and adjust. Let me write a sticky note real quick. Punt page per device, not show. I live and die by sticky notes. They are great and they allow me to stay a little bit organized. I just keep popping them down on the desks as I get more. Okay. Yeah, that was silly of me trying to do all of this into, and then that also, yeah. Cool. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually get settings. That's fine. So instead of that, what we're going to do is Sorry, I'm trying to think here. So instead of... So we have all these settings that we're getting. Do I actually need to get the settings, or do I just say get what a configuration is? I think that's what I need. So for key punt props. Punt props is now no longer a... So the first thing I need to do is actually delete this to clear out my user defaults, or else it's gonna be a mess. Punt props is going to be not this. Or this. So this was just all a mess that I had. I don't need that either. I don't even need that. We're gonna make this a lot simpler than it once was, which is great. Okay, but I still need to check if it's actually enabled. So maybe I went too fast. Okay, so it is enabled. And we're actually going to default that to true for now, but this needs to be false before it releases. I have that marked in here. I just have to actually remember to go and do it. I see how I did that. Let's just comment this out for now. Makes it a bit easier to just comment it out, pretend it doesn't exist, and come back to it. Okay, and then we're gonna get rid of that. That's gonna be gone. All right. Config double. All right, so we have a page enabled. So if defaults dot object for key punt config equals nil, defaults dot set for key cannot convert value of type boolean to expected argument. Why is it trying to? But if it does equal nil, that's when I... Okay, so it was just being silly. That's fine. It can be silly like that. No big deal. Nope. Why? Oh, because it's supposed to say this. I have my parentheses in the wrong place. My bad. Okay, no, that is the exact same as up here. So why? we're going to go ahead and we're going to be the code a bit more than looking at actually what the device is doing right now. Defaults.set 00, great. And if not, we want to say config wow, I can't type double equals true. I might end up switching back to my clicky keyboard because no, double does not equal true. It equals 0 to 0. Haha. And we can change this from to let's see what the options for defaults are, just to make sure that I am correct. Yes, one of them is just for certain a double. Which honestly, I could have even done an int. Let's do that. I would much rather deal with ints than doubles. Integer for key. Int 0 0. Great. And we'll do defaults dot set config for key punt config. Great, and then we don't need the value because all we're getting is this config number here. Defaults, we're setting our configuration value here. We're gonna call that new config. All right, so that's there. Config, new config, great. Great, so now we need to, in this option, we're just gonna say, what is it called? Self.update punt props. Nope. Update punt config. Self.update punt config 1. Oh, I don't, my bad. Someone from Utah was apparently calling me. I don't know who that is. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I'm here. If I don't know you enough, they'll leave me a voicemail. All right, so I have that done. Config 1. I could have done 0 base and done config 0, 1, 2, 3, but that gets confusing, so I'll just do config 1, 2, and 3. And at some point, I actually need to come up with a snazzy names besides config 1, 2, 3. I know I'll have icons at some point, but I don't need though. I should have better names than config 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and build that now. actually, I'm going to stop that build because what I want to do here is, we're just going to say, text config dot font is cool. All right, so now let's try building and running that. And once this works, hopefully it should work, we're going to call that a day here and then keep going. And then next week, we'll probably continue with more iHog stuff, or later in the week even. Just depends on what all I have planned, which is pretty much nothing during this COVID-19 stuff. Yay! Cool. So I deleted the app earlier, which is why there's nothing here. So we're going to hit add new show. Show is added. Punt page was made, which now I can go and delete. Yay. Cool. So we have configuration 1 chosen here. We can see. Did I really not make a device one? I did not. Oh, weird. Real quick, hold on, because it's kind of better to see besides here. Let's just do a... They left a voicemail. It doesn't matter. Let's just do a... It doesn't matter. Okay, so we can kind of see. So when I change config 1, config 2, config 3, the switching is great. Let's do this. We're gonna unlock the iPad real quick. Just make it a little bit bigger so you can see. All right. So now when I switch config 1, config 2, we should be seeing that number right there in the middle of the device switching. Great. And with that said, I am going to basically call it a night here. Let's Thanks for watching, guys. And if you didn't watch live, thanks for still tuning in to the YouTube. I appreciate it. If you really enjoy everything I've done or want to read more about like some of the things I'm doing, like if you want to read more about some of the things I'm doing, like the blog here, go check out my blog. It's gonna be the best place to go. You can't see what I'm doing. Go check out my blog here at spymw.com. It's the best place to go to see kind of like the tutorials and stuff I'm doing. I'm also going to start posting like my archives here so you can see last week's here. The orange around means that's a video. They're embedded in the page, so feel free to always go in and check it out and see what all was working on. As I said, I'm working on getting my whole back catalog here of stuff I've written. There's not that much, but there's still a lot more posts. There's still a bit more posts to be added. I really appreciate y'all tuning in somehow, some way, either whether it's on Twitch right now or through my or through the archive posts on YouTube, all that good stuff. Cool. And like I said, the next one, we're still working on iHog, I might do some work behind the scenes without it being live streamed. So if there's still more work on iHog, it's going to be more implementing of this punt page feature, which again, I'm switching to just different configurations. You push the button and it's going to be opinionated at this point and not really user defined, but still a lot more options than there were before. And again, thanks so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. If you have the discretionary funds and you really want to show your support towards me, there's my Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee link right here. Please feel free to do it. No pressure whatsoever, though. We're all in tough times here, as we all know. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.